What's up everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys some Battle Aces gameplay, a new RTS that's being developed by Uncapped Games, led by David Kim. You guys might remember him as the lead balance designer on StarCraft 2. Now this is a completely different game from StarCraft 2, like there was even a debate going on whether this is actually an RTS or not. I think there is a lot to discuss there. I was even looking at some terms myself and I feel like the term RTT or real-time tactics might be more suited for this, but then again I'm not an expert. Now, I do want to explain you guys quickly my favorite part about this game before I get into the gameplay. I'll make sure to put chapters down below. So if you guys want to skip this, then, feel free to go watch some gameplay. But basically, I just want to show you guys the unit deck real quick. So basically what this is pretty much, to put it in simple StarCraft 2 terms, you can choose whether you have Zealots, Marines, or Zerglings as your starting unit, and you can customize all of it. And what I found myself doing is that after every game, I feel like there was something I wanted to change. So let's say I wanted to have a ranged unit as my first unit instead of a melee unit, so I could switch it over to one of the ranged units. I don't actually know all of them yet. As you can see, I also don't have all of them unlocked. But I thought this was extremely cool because I could already tell that a lot of people had like their own identity. They had their own units that I really like to use. Some people like to put the anti-air on tier 2 and use tankier melee units. Some people like to use range units so they can kite all over the place. And like that is really fun, especially when this game, I don't know what the goal exactly is, but if this game, let's say, gets 100 units, I feel like you're going to see so many different decks and so many different playstyles, and I think it's going to be super, super awesome. But for now, let's play a couple games. All right, the first game is against Bandit123. You guys are probably going to enjoy my own nickname. Now, I decided to do this without a webcam because I didn't know where to put it and I didn't really want to block anything on the screen. Now, I'll try to explain you guys as much as possible, but it is going to be a little hard because the games are super fast. As you can see, there's a timer in the top of the screen, which at that point, I think it activates some kind of sudden death, but I've played like 100 games or so, and I've never been there yet, so the games, they do end really, really fast. If I hold space, I can see the deck of my opponent. And that is extremely useful in deciding what to build. Basically, what you spend your money on is either expanding. You can see it here in the tab. You can either expand or tech up to Foundry or tech up to Starforge. And those are all different techs. He has not the best anti-air, so I think I'm going to go for Starforge tech, which usually has the air units. I'm going to wait out here with my Scorpions. Scorpion is kind of like the medium option of the early melee units. It's not super tanky. It's not super fast. You have units that are actually extremely fast and extremely tanky. Now, I was waiting for his units to spawn so I could go in here and do some damage. He's actually doing the same move, but my Scorpions are going to kill these a little bit faster. So this is always a little questionable, but I think I'm going to trade out my Scorpions to kill a decent amount of workers here. I'm going to kill about almost 3/4 of his natural base, so that is pretty good. He's taking his third base as well. There's actually one big thing about this game is you can tell when your opponent is teching and when they're taking their bases, so you can make your decisions instantly. Now, wait, he actually... Oh, I didn't expect he was going to go for this tech. My opponent has turrets. That's a defensive structure, and you pretty much never see anyone build that, so that is quite questionable. Now, I think I'm going to try to counterattack. He's playing a recall strategy, so all of these units can just recall to any base. He's actually going to kill my base very fast. I didn't think he was going to kill it that fast, but he did go to the wrong base with those recallers, so I should be able to kill these workers once again. Let's see. The recall cooldown is very, very short, by the way, so he can do that over and over pretty much. Now, what I want to do is try to take down his third base while he's focusing on this. This is going to be a little scary. He's going to be able to recall here quite soon. He's making turrets as well. But I'm going to have these air units. And the units he has, the recalls, they don't actually shoot up. I basically have super squishy air units here. Like, these die super, super fast. But since he doesn't have anti-air, they're just going to do an amazing amount of damage. He recalled to this base, which is really surprising because my air units are going to do an amazing amount of work. Oh, I didn't actually realize, but he's using the anti-air recalls as well. That's why he kept recalling over here. And we're going to be able to take down this base. Now, I'm not quite sure we can take down the rest of his bases because, like I said, these butterflies, these air units here, they are very squishy. So I think the best thing I can do is probably just expand myself. So I'm going to expand myself now and just kind of try to deny his base forever. Maybe, I don't know what the range of the turrets is. Maybe I can harass the edges of his base. That would be quite nice. Maybe I can just start shooting this, but he will... oh, that's actually a pretty long range. It's good that I tested that. The range on that is pretty good. Now, typically, I don't think you want to go for both tech options because teching does cost 400. You can see my resources in the bottom left. Right now, I can almost afford it. But here, it would make sense for me to take both techs just because the tech that I have right now will really suffer the moment my opponent gets too much anti-air, which he is clearly working on for now. Now, when you make a new base, your workers don't spawn instantly. They do respawn, by the way. If you kill them, they respawn after like a minute or 30 seconds or so. Not exactly sure. So here, I took this base, but it's actually not paying off yet. So for now, I have, you know, how do I put this? I've invested into the tech and the expansion, and I don't have the benefits of either yet. So this is actually quite a dangerous time for me. That's why I'm trying to pressure him so much so he won't leave his base. So he's going to try to build that. Now, I have to be so careful with these butterflies because they will get zapped instantly by anti-air units. It's actually quite annoying to go up against the turrets with those. Now, I'm banking a lot of money because I'm waiting for my tech units to finish. I feel like, let's see, what does he have? These guys are pretty tanky. They're pretty tanky guys, so they might be able to take down my tech units, but I'm saving up my money so I can make a lot of them at once. I went for the King Crab, which is pretty much just like a bruiser type unit. Like it's quite strong. It's like medium tanky, medium damage. Now he might actually try to recall over here, which would be really good for me because I have all these big crabs ready to surround. Now the thing about playing recall strategy like he's doing is that you are kind of allowed to make a lot of mistakes because you can recall all over the place. And I guess in turn for that, his units are not necessarily the strongest in direct battle. So yeah, okay, he does actually have a lot of the tanky guys. I feel like I should be able to fight this. Like, keep in mind, I had the economic advantage, so I think I'm just going to go for a big surround. He's dropping a lot. Okay, my army is actually pretty massive. He's dropping a lot of turrets. I think I'm going to try to force the recall by just getting a really big surround. He actually decided to recall over here, and there we go. He concedes. Now, this game, my deck looked pretty fine, but I think for this video, I would like to change my deck a little bit every game. So let's do that. All right, the second game is going to be against Moku. And what I decided to do was switch out the units I use the most. So I switched out the Scorpions, the little melee units that I had, for really fast, really weak units. Like, basically like Zerglings, but I feel like even faster and even weaker. So that kind of fits my style of being really, really annoying. Now, one thing that's actually pretty popular in this game is to go for one-base pushes. But so far, my opponents haven't done that. Oh, I didn't actually check my opponent's deck, but he is playing the same melee unit as me. But he does have a different secondary unit. Now, let's see. He has... This guy is basically like some kind of Baneling. It's like a weaker Baneling. And this guy is a tank destroyer. I think I'm gonna go for the Foundry this time. Would be nice to open with a different tech. You also have a tier 3 in this game, by the way, but I just haven't really gotten there yet. Getting it in 1v1 is pretty hard. In 2v2, it's actually pretty common. I was playing some with my brother, which was very cool, by the way. I didn't actually mention this, but what's so cool about this game is that it feels like it's brought a lot of people together. Like, more people from, you know, back in the day that I used to play games with, including like my brother. Actually, I have been enjoying this game, and 2v2 is also a very nice mode, so that actually has been very, very enjoyable for me. I think I'll probably be streaming this game a little bit as well. Oh, and one more thing before I forget, because I wanted to mention it at the start, but I've been forgetting, is that I still have some beta keys available, so I'll probably do a giveaway in my Discord or something like that at some point. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure to join the Discord from the description. Now, so far, we have just been making the same units. Yeah, my opponent is going to go for either the Banelings or the Tank Destroyers. Actually, I'm going to make this unit the Ballista. Not because it's necessarily the best choice, but because I've actually never built it yet. So I guess this is going to be some kind of experiment. I have no idea what these units do. They are some kind of splash unit, but I don't even know exactly how they deal the splash. So now I have them here. I think my opponent's going to go for a big frontal push. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split off my small wasps and try to go for a big counterattack. Like, these things raid mineral lines, or I don't know how else to call them. You guys know what I mean anyway. They kill them really fast, so that is going to be a good idea. Probably going to be able to kill all of this, I think. Now, I do see his army in the middle of the map. Yeah, he got these guys are really good against tanks. They actually destroy tanks. Gonna kill a lot of units here. I guess that was one of those Baneling units. He might lose those pretty early, though. He's actually gonna lose those units early on, which is really nice. Looks like I'm winning the fight over here. I'm not gonna lie, I was intending to kill the mineral line and not necessarily the entire army. But there we go. Sometimes if you play very fast, you can win games very, very fast in this game. All right, game number 3 is against Cyber Dragon. Now, I did what I've been doing for the last couple of games. I switched out the unit from my deck that I was winning with the most. And that was indeed the Wasp. Excuse me, the Wasp, the super fast little unit. And I'm going to switch them out for the Crab. The Crab is actually the basic unit of this game. I think it is, if I remember correctly, it is the tutorial unit as well. So this one should be very familiar if we decide to play this game. Now, my opponent is playing with the Wasps as well. The Wasps are very good at overwhelming you. So I think I'm going to have to be a little careful with these. These are a little slower. You can tell he's already trying to find some damage over here. Now, these crabs are quite strong. Now, let's look at what my opponent has for tech. He has the Banelings and the King Crabs. And then in his... Oh, he actually went for the main base, which is quite nice. He has the Baneling and the King Crab. That's the unit that I used in, I believe, the first game, right? And then he has these air units. I feel like I should probably go for the air tech. I feel like my air tech is going to look a little stronger here. Now, I'm actually struggling a little bit with the macro because the crabs are more expensive than the units I've used before. So it has actually been a little bit hard to spend my money here, but that's okay. My base is going to be slightly delayed. I did take it faster than normal. Normally, I tech before the third base, but my opponent also made the third base fast, so I figured I could do that quite comfortably. Now, you can tell he's playing exactly the way you should play with these super fast units, and that he's trying to cause a lot of chaos and trying to make a lot of run-bys happen and stuff. Now, he is going for the ground tech, so he's going to have the Banelings pretty much and the King Crabs to his disposal. Now, I'm just going to make sure I have crabs in every single base. It is pretty hard, admittedly, to play against these guys. Like, these super fast units, they are really not easy to play against. As you can tell, he's going to be able to go for a surround now. I think it's going to be perfectly fine because I did not really lose anything before, so I have a lot of units. Oh, yeah, I actually didn't realize he had... Wait, I think those are anti-air units. He's trying to counter my air prematurely. This is actually pretty good information for me here. Like, these are better against air than against ground. If you guys are wondering why the fight went better than it looked like, it's because these are not necessarily strong against ground. So I think what I'm gonna do is actually something really sneaky you can do. On your Starforge tech, you can also put a ground unit. So he's making a lot of anti-air units because I went for the Starforge. But now I can make the secondary ground unit I had. And I saved up a lot of money for this because the fights were going so well for me that I now all of a sudden have a lot of these. I've actually never made these before, by the way. There is a free unit rotation and these are now free. So I guess I'm just going to make a bunch of these. I'm not quite sure how well my units are going to do against the big crabs simply because I've actually never made these before. I think what I'm going to try to do is try to stick behind the crab reinforcements that I have. So the king crabs don't get directly on top of my big units. Looks like I took care of most of the king crabs already. So my army should be significantly stronger now. I'm trying my best to do micro. I've never really seen people try hard micro before, but why the hell not, right? If I have my StarCraft skills, I might as well use them, I guess. So I'm going to pull these behind my reinforcing crabs again. I was about to go for a fourth base, but we are getting pretty close to breaking through. I think I can still go for a fourth base, because even if I have to retreat here, I think it should probably be defendable anyway. So let's see. Oh, my doorbell is actually ringing. Well, that's unfortunate because I'm busy killing some king crabs. And there we go. All right, so 3 different decks, 3 wins so far. Let's go for a final game. All right, and the final game is against Adagramis. This is actually a pretty good RTS player. I remember seeing him from, I believe, I'm not sure if it was Zero Space or Stormgate or both, but he was pretty high ranked there. Now, I tried my best to make a new deck, but as you can see, I simply don't have that many units unlocked yet. I haven't been playing that much, so it is, yeah, I did what I could do. I changed the Baneling in front, or instead of the King Crab, because I haven't used the Baneling a single time. It's called a Bomber, by the way, and it's not literally a Baneling, but I guess that's the easiest comparison. Now, my opponent's actually going for slow crabs. You don't see that very often, so that means that even with these scorpions, I can go ahead and pressure on the map a little bit. He does have anti-air, but not the best anti-air ever. So I think I'm going to go for Starforge. Let's see. Yeah, he's going for the ground tech. You can see it by pressing space, by the way. You can tell if I didn't mention it before, you can see that the time is ticking down. Now I'm going to wait over here. I need to make a ton more scorpions to defend my natural. And then I would love to get some damage in right away if I can. I'm still not 100% sure when it's actually worth it to trade out. Like, if I traded this entire army for like 3 of those patches, I'm not even 100% sure if it would be that good. So that is something quite interesting to think about. Now I'm going to go for my 3rd base, and then I think I'll make some mammoths. I actually did like the mammoths the last game, like the tanky guys that I built. I feel like they were quite strong. Not quite sure if they're going to be strong. I'm not even sure what this one is, actually. Oh, I think this is a Crusader. This is like a super tanky melee tank kind of thing. That is... I'm not sure if that's going to be good for me or not. Could be a problem. Now, he doesn't actually have that many crabs here, so I can go for a fight. Okay, so he... Wait, this could be pretty good for me. He made these units, which are... anti-air guys, and I can actually, this trick is really nice, you know. I keep upgrading to that, and then they make anti-air because they see I went for air tech, but then I don't actually have to make the air tech. Now, as you can see, he hasn't taken a 3rd base yet, which means he is most likely to go for a big 2-base all-in here. So what I need to do is make sure that I keep him on his side of the map. Like, my economy hasn't kicked in yet, which is definitely a little problematic. So what I'm going to do is counterattack with all of these pretty much and just run away so I don't have to fight. I feel like this could be a pretty decent play here. I can't make the Balings yet, unfortunately. I feel like that could be quite nice if I could make those. Now, let's see. I think I'm just going to go ahead and kill this entire resource line over here. Make sure I don't fight full-on. Fighting full-on would be a massive mistake for sure. So I just got to keep doing this. So we killed pretty much all of the economy there, which is really nice. And now we are going to be... Well, he's actually going to kill my economy over here. Let me make sure to kill that guy. Yeah, these Crusaders are very strong. Like, they're actually insanely strong even against my high damaging units. So we basically traded 1 economy for 1 economy. Now, the main base is pretty much a double base. So now you could see it as if we're playing 3 base against 2. And I guess I'll just have to play really defensive and micro really well. I do have the ranged on my side. That's always going to be really nice. Just going to make sure to keep kiting here, to be honest. Now, he doesn't... Okay, those units are very scary because they're ranged. And they do a little bit of splash. Maybe I can get on top of them. That would be really nice. I'm trying my best to target one of them. Didn't quite get it, unfortunately. But as long as I keep kiting, I feel like we should be okay eventually. Just gonna make sure I don't take maximum splash damage from these things. Let's see if I can target one down. Keep in mind, he still did have a lot of the anti-air things, so those don't do that much damage. We're gonna get on top of the big splash things, and we have defended. And I think as soon as our economy is gonna respawn, that's gonna put us in a good enough spot to close it out. I don't want to be too overconfident, of course. But it seems like as long as I keep trading somewhat decently, we should have this game in the bag. I think a really good move that he could have done, for example, send a couple units to my natural mineral line as well to be able to take care of that. Now, I have 1 air unit I can build, but realistically, it's not going to be that strong. Since my units are ranged, I think I can always take a somewhat decent fight. I can also upgrade to tier 3 here. So if my opponent's going to camp for too long, it wouldn't... Wait, I did not made this guy on accident. It wouldn't be too crazy for me to just go for tier 3. Let's just make sure that I don't get A-moved as I'm run-buying with all my freaking scorpions, of course. Now, I should be able to clean up this entire resource line again. Let's see if I can get the scorpions in the top. Make sure I don't fight with my entire army once again. As long as I don't lose like a massive fight, we are going to be okay for sure. Actually, I'm going to click a couple on those ones. Ooh, looks like he's getting a little bit too close for comfort for those units. Now, my resource lines are completely intact because he's chasing me down here, so we really don't have to be worried. Guess I'm going to wait for my reinforcements, and as soon as they're here, we should be completely fine. My units actually traded really well, even against his actual army coming out of the reinforcements, besides killing the entire resource line. So that is really, really nice. And now, as soon as I can snipe this annoying splash damage thing, I think his army is no longer going to be a threat. I have a lot of units here, and I feel like this is actually one of my best performances yet, to be honest, and he has to concede. So there we go. 4 different decks, albeit only slightly different. And we got 4 dubs. Now, this game, as you can see, the games are really fast. They're really high-paced. It's also pretty hard to do non-stop live commentary on this because the decisions you have to make all the time are so freaking crazy. But that is pretty much my conclusion. I've had a lot of friends where they weren't very excited for this game. Initially, I also had my doubts, but playing it now, it is really, really, really fun in its own way. Like, it's not really the classic RTS kind of way like StarCraft 2 would be, but it really is fun in its own way. And yeah, I would love for you guys to check it out as well. Make sure to tell me in the comments what you thought. If you want a key, you know where to find me in the Discord. And that's going to be it for today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you out for the next one. Adios.